going to talk about our overall review of the Celestyal 3-continent cruise. Okay, so needless to say, it was amazing.
Oh, of course.
Everything about that entire trip was amazing. So I can tell you right off the bat, this is going to be a positive review. I don't have anything negative to say, but for the most part, super, super positive all about this trip.
I agree.
All right, so let's start off with how we went about planning this trip. So it was a large group of travel agents that went. We were invited to go. So we would learn about the Celestyal cruise line. And we flew to Athens, Greece. From Athens, we got on the Celestyal Crystal and we had our 7-day cruise. That was to Egypt, Israel, Cyprus, Rhodes, which is in Greece, and Kusadasi, Turkey, and then back to Athens for another day.
And Cyprus is a European island.
Yes. So it's closer to Asia, but it's considered part of Europe.
Limassols were reported, and it's in the country of Cyprus.
Yes.
Okay, but Cyprus is a European island.
Yep. It felt very Greek.
Yeah.
The signs were in Greek.
Oh, yeah.
Everything felt Greek, but
Absolutely.
it is its own country.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off with Athens. So Athens was pretty amazing. I mean, we started off the trip with a day in Athens before we boarded, and then the day of boarding, we did a private tour.
We need more time there. It's an amazing city. Very well versed, very well cultured. A lot of stuff going on there. A lot of shopping, a lot of restaurants, a lot of good eating, a lot of good historical sites. It's everything you want in an amazing city.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because you would just walk down the street and you would see this fence, and behind the fence, there were some ruins there,
right?
You know, just in the middle of the city.
Then you walk around the corner and there's modern day architecture.
Yeah.
It was quite an amazing sight to see. And shopping upon shopping, I mean, layers of shopping. It was like nothing I've seen before. A lot of graffiti in the area, but we got used to it after a while. When we first got there, it was like, wow, it kind of put us off, but
yeah.
It kind of became the normal to us after a while, and wasn't a problem.
No, I mean, because we talked to some of the locals and they explained what the graffiti is. It's just a way for young people to express their individualism, and they don't look at it negative. So
it's not gang related. It's not what they say negatively done. It's all positive. That's the way they look at it over there. So we just kind of took that and ran with it. But what an amazing experience that was. The food was amazing. The shopping was amazing. The sights were amazing. The weather was amazing, but it was that time of year. We were there in December. But definitely recommend going there. That was amazing. Then we get on the cruise ship.
Yeah.
The smallest cruise ship we had ever been on. We had a group of people that we met there that we became friends with throughout the cruise. So that made it nice. But I liked it. I thought it was an older ship, but I liked the ship. I liked the entertainment. I liked the nightclub on it. I liked the entertainment that was on it. The theater shows were a little cheesy. Okay, some of them, like for Greek night, that was really good.
That was fantastic.
But that culture is different. You know, it's not like a Broadway kind of thing like it is over here in America. It was a different kind of thing. And once I got past that feeling or whatever, that difference, it was really cool. You could definitely see the culture coming out into the theater shows.
Yeah, so after the cruise, we talked, and we're at first going into it, we're like, oh God, this is gonna be a small cruise ship. We're not sure how we're gonna like this. But after the fact, we're like, we really enjoyed that. I mean, we enjoyed every aspect of that. The fact that it was completely different than anything we'd ever done before. And so don't be afraid to do a European cruise line, because some people said, oh, I want to do something that's more American. Live outside the box, try something new, because we did, and it was a great experience.
Absolutely. I mean, to walk around a cruise ship and hear all this Greek languages, I think there was 800 Greeks on board. There was about 125 Americans, and then the rest were Asian and mixed. But it was interesting to walk around a cruise ship and hear all these different languages. I mean, most of the people I couldn't understand. And chances are they didn't understand me either.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny. It was kind of interesting, you know? But the ones that did speak English, you know, you go sit and have a beer and you're talking to this guy from Greece. You're talking to a guy that's from the Florida Keys but's doing work in Greece. It was such a neat experience, and we met so many nice people. That within itself is one big reason to go. It's so interesting.
Yeah. And I will say one thing, we had an amazing cabin in the fact that it was huge. So it was an ocean view cabin, but it was so big that like I could have done cartwheels in that room if I wanted to.
Well, you could definitely, she did the spin.
I did a spin.
She did the spin in it. Yeah, it was a nice room. I enjoyed it. It made sense. It had a big vanity for her, had a living space with a couch and a table that was very roomy.
Yeah.
Next to the window, the ocean view window. They had 2 full beds that were pushed next to each other, but it was no big deal. It really wasn't even a problem.
No.
The bathroom was really good and had excellent water pressure, by the way. Oh my God, some of the best we've ever had. You know, I mean, it's all about the little things, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of a big thing. When you wake up in the morning, really good water pressure, am I right?
And what's funny is there's this little sign in there that says conserve water, and I'm like, we've got this amazing water pressure.
I ain't conserving anything. I'm letting that bad boy run for an hour on my back.
I know. But it was like getting a massage on your back. It was fantastic.
And the hot water never ran out, you know, of course. But yeah, so the room was great. It was kind of like older, but it wasn't a problem at all, you know. It felt just classic.
Yeah.
It felt like when you think of a classic cruise ship, it just felt so classic. And you know, I'm all about the classics. I'm a sucker for the classics. So we had no issue with that whatsoever.
No.
And we had just come off the biggest ship we have ever been on, the Encore.
Which was brand spanking
new. So, yeah, when we first got on it, we were looking at each other like, ooh.
This is different.
But we fell in love with it pretty quick. One negative I will say about that ship is the buffet lines are just kind of really small.
Yeah, the buffet area is small.
Not a lot of choices there. Kind of basic. Could do a better job there.
And the food does shut down early. So if you want a late night snack, they have like a menu you can order from at cost, but there are no included options past dinner time. And
you know, when breakfast is over and lunch is over, in between, you can't go up there and get coffee. There's only certain places you can go get coffee. It's a smaller ship. Things are done a little bit different there. So you just have to kind of go find where you can get stuff, you know. And it's there, but you got to go look for it sometimes.
Yeah. Don't sleep in and miss breakfast, because then you're going to wait till lunch for food.
Boy, that ain't no joke.
But speaking of the food was really good.
Yeah, I had no problem with the food.
So, I mean, it was, you know, basic breakfast, things like that. But for the dinners, there were themed nights and the Greek nights. There was 2 Greek nights. One that was served in the dining room that was a more upscale Greek service, and then one that was a poolside barbecue. Both were fantastic food.
Boy, that poolside barbecue was really cool. Super enjoyed that. The atmosphere was buzzing, and it was just, I felt so immersed in the culture there. One weird thing about that pool deck, the bar. If you walk up to the bar, you'll have a waiter come up to you and go, "What do you want?" And he'll get the drink for you and give it to you. But the bartenders aren't supposed to give you drinks.
Now, there's tables everywhere, and they want you to sit down and relax.
So as an American and been on Carnival and NCL, it's quite different. You go sit at the bar and you sit there and you get your drinks. So that took some getting used to. That was kind of different. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the ports that we went to. So the first port was Egypt. So Egypt is not on many itineraries. So I have seen other cruise lines that will hit Israel or they'll hit Turkey, but I have not seen another one that does all 3 continents. So this is a very unique experience, being able to take a cruise to Alexandria and go to the pyramids.
Yeah, I mean, that's a once in a lifetime trip, you guys. If you can pull that one off, you've done something.
Yeah. So the pyramids were an amazing sight to behold. We had some issues with the vendors there. We talked about that during the vlogs.
We just realized it's part of it. If you're gonna go abroad and you're gonna try new things, get ready because the culture's different. You know, we tend to be very polite. We're taught to be extremely polite. Maybe we're too polite here in the United States because pretty much everywhere else where we've gone, we went to Greece, you know, we went to Egypt, we went to all over the, you know, those 3 continents, and they're not as polite as us. But that's just their culture. It's not that they're trying to be rude.
Yeah.
So you got to know that and understand that, and it helps you kind of get through it.
Yeah. But seeing those pyramids, seeing the Sphinx, going to the Egyptian Museum, I mean, we saw mummies. We saw real mummies. We saw statues that were made out of wood carvings that had real looking eyes that were 4,600 years old. These are things that are not anywhere else in the world.
Kind of cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I get, you know, there's a little drawback there in the hustle bustle of Egypt, but overall, pretty fantastic experience.
Absolutely. I mean, I would totally recommend it to anybody. We don't have any regrets. I mean, we would do it all over again for sure. Unbelievable trip. Not to mention the pictures, the photos, the videos, the memories will last a lifetime. I mean, you're getting to see a place that most people won't ever get to see in their lifetime, and that's pretty special.
Jason rode a camel.
I rode a camel. I saw a camel toe. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. But pretty cool. You got to step out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
Things are not always going to be comfortable. You're going to have some anxiety, but to really get to the good stuff, you got to go through that sometimes. Especially when it comes to travel. So,
next port was Ashdod, Israel. So that's where we ported. So we got into Ashdod, and you had 2 choices of the excursion that you could do. You could go to Bethlehem and Jerusalem, or you could go to Tel Aviv. We chose Bethlehem and Jerusalem because we wanted to visit the Holy Land.
Yeah, I think we picked the right one. I mean, we wanted to go to Bethlehem. That was number 1. And Jerusalem was number 2 on that list, and we got to see both of those. I mean, what's not to like? What's not to look forward to? Whether you're religious or not, whether you believe or not, that's up to you. For us, it was the right fit.
So the country is made up of about 80% Muslim, 15% Jewish, and only 5% Christian. We didn't know that going into it, so that was a really interesting thing to learn. So we go to Bethlehem, and Bethlehem, you know, you think in your mind that Bethlehem is this tiny little village.
People walking around in the gravel with their goats.
It's not.
Really? That's what we had in our head. Like, you think it's just so third world.
Well, you go, I mean, we've learned about Bethlehem in church and Sunday school, where you're hearing the stories of 2,000 years ago. So this is the picture you have in your mind of Bethlehem.
Not the case, folks. It's a huge metropolis as well.
City.
You know, nestled up in the mountains. There's millions upon millions of people there. You have the modern day stuff mixed in with all the old world stuff. I mean, they exist together.
Yeah. And so we went to the Church of the Nativity. So parts of this church do date back pre-Christian. So they've done a lot of renovations to this church, and they've pulled out frescoes that have been covered for years and years. They've pulled out frescoes that are on the floor. And they can show that these are pre-Christian, and they can kind of show how it's developed over the years.
It was incredible.
Fascinating.
The mosaics,
Absolutely.
the floor mosaics, the wall all the mosaics were just absolutely incredible. And to know how old they are and how such good shape they're in once they were uncovered and rebuilt again. Wow, it was incredible.
Yeah. So the 3 wise men that visited Jesus, those were from the Muslim faith. So this church was kept intact.
Yep.
So so many were either converted or taken down.
And that particular church was not destroyed.
No. And there's parts of that church that are over 2,000 years old. So that's just mind-blowing. Fascinating.
Mind-blowing. Another high point in Old Town Jerusalem. It was pretty amazing to see where Jesus Christ was shackled and held in captivity before he was imprisoned and then sacrificed. So we got to see all 3 back to back to back and be right where he was. Of course, it was built on top of where he stood, actually, but we were still standing in the same grounds, in the same spot that he was. And I don't know what else to say other than that's pretty unbelievable and about as good as it gets for me.
Yeah. So really, it doesn't matter what your faith is. We're Christians, but whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, this is a great country to visit because there's histories
so
and
much
cultures
history
of all three religions. So
absolutely.
Go visit.
Okay.
Okay. So next up, we moved to Cyprus. Cyprus was a country we had never even heard of until we planned this trip.
Only thing Cyprus I've heard of was the tree.
Spelled differently.
Yeah.
But Cyprus is an island, but it's its own country. It is closer to Asia, but it is a European nation. It's very Greek. A lot of the culture is Greek. The signs in everything was Greek.
The
food was Greek. The speech was Greek. Awesome.
It was a little village called Emoto village, and that place was like you would picture a village should be and would be. It was that village. It was quiet, and it was nestled in the valleys of the mountains, and in the little narrow alleyways throughout the village were little shops and restaurants and things. It was very quiet. You'd see little cats walking around and stuff. We were there with our group. There was maybe a couple of other people we saw there, but not many people.
Yeah.
But we got to try the best olive oil that was hand-picked and handcrafted and made right there in Cyprus. The wine was made right there in Cyprus. We got to taste the wine. We got to taste the olive oil. We got to eat the food in this village, and it was such an amazing experience.
It absolutely was. That was the best culinary experience we've ever had in our lives. It was served family. We went to this little restaurant. It was served family style, and they just kept bringing food out.
It was the most authentic experience that we had. You know, really it was.
It was.
So that definitely a highlight for us on that one. Then next we go to Rhodes.
Yes, so Rhodes is an island of Greece. So if you're not familiar with Greece, there's mainland Greece, and then there's a whole bunch of islands. So think Caribbean. All the islands in the Caribbean. Greece has about as many islands as the Caribbean does. So Rhodes is one of the larger islands. There's a lot of history on Rhodes, a lot of really, really fantastic ruins. The second largest Acropolis in all of Greece is on the island of Rhodes, and we got to visit that.
Athena's Acropolis.
So we go up, and it is a trek, and it's these little narrow pathways that lead up the side of the mountain.
With no rails.
No rails. It's really, really high up, and then you got so high up, it was so windy.
There was a lot of people that had fear of heights or had suffered vertigo or whatnot. They would start up the trek, and they were like, nah. A lot of people turned back because you're going up these stairs, like she said, old rocky stairs with no sides, and there's cliffs there. So it's pretty wild, but it didn't bother us. We you know, we liked it, but a lot of people didn't, so know that. But it was so beautiful.
Yeah. And it's the high point of Rhodes, and so back in ancient times, this is where the armies would go, and then they could see everywhere, so they could see invading ships coming in, and then they showed us the different time zones that were in this. So you've got, you know, that date it back, you know, 2,000 plus years old, and then you've got some of the architecture that was around 1,400 years old, and so on and so forth, and none of them were the same cultures, but they all used the same spot.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool. A lot of the Acropolis is still standing, and then you literally look over and it's a cliff going down into the water.
Oh, it's way up there, guys. It's the highest point. The Acropolis, the highest point at the edge. Let me tell you what, when you get up there and you're on the coast, well, you're gonna have lots of wind. And I'm talking lean into the wind, like it will blow.
Yes.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, some people, I'm surprised, didn't get blown off that cliff. But it was a sight to see. It was pretty wild.
It was.
Yeah, but beautiful place. That was fun.
Yeah, and then you look, once you're up there and you look down at the village is all whitewashed.
Yeah.
So, you know, you see these picturesque pictures where the entire village is whitewashed. You're like, is that for real? Yeah, it is. Every building was the same color. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and then all through that little village, it was a different kind of village than what we experienced in Cyprus, but it was a village, and it had little shops and grocery stores all nestled in through it.
Yep.
And we had to walk through that to get back up the hill to the bus. And at the top of the hill, they had a local restaurant, served coffee and local foods there. We stopped in and got us some real Greek coffee.
He doesn't like Greek coffee.
Yeah. I'll stick to Folgers.
It's a little strong. But
or my Americano.
Yeah. So, but Greek coffee, it's like syrup. It's so thick.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah, kind of tasted like vinegar.
Really?
It was weird, man. But anyway.
So after we were at the Acropolis, we went into the medieval city. That was really, really cool. And you have...
I forgot about that.
You forgot about that.
Yeah.
You go through the medieval city, you have to have a tour guide because the city was built to confuse invading armies.
Oh yeah. You will get lost.
You will get lost.
The guide said, you have to keep up with me because if you don't, we will leave you behind because we're on a time schedule and you will not find us.
No.
He said it happens almost every time on a tour. Well, so we were, needless to say, right behind the guy.
Yeah.
We didn't want to take any chances. Really interesting. Little cars would be driving through there. He said, I think about 4,000 people live there, work there. Over 4,000 people.
Yeah. Super, super interesting little thing. And talking about tour guides, we had good tour guides and we had bad tour guides. The one in Rhodes was fantastic.
He was like the 007 of tour guides. I mean, just had the most smoothest, velvetiest tone to his voice. You know, had just an awesome accent. I mean, he was pretty good to listen to.
Yeah, he was easy to understand. He made it interesting.
Yeah.
Fantastic tour guide.
Yeah, pretty awesome. All right.
So our last stop was Kusadasi Turkey. All right, so the main reason for visiting Kusadasi...
I can never say that right. I still screw it up. I say Musadaki all the time.
No, try it again.
Kusadaki.
Kusadasi.
Kusadasi.
Ah, you got it.
Finally.
Okay, so in Kusadasi, one of the main reasons for visiting is the city of Ephesus. So we've been visiting ruins all... Ephesus. Ephesus. So, stop. If you go to the Bible and you look up Ephesians, Ephesians was in Ephesus. So this is a biblical site. Very historical as well. There's this street through there that they said that Cleopatra and Mark Antony came through. I mean, there's a lot of history there. The coolest thing about Ephesus is it is the largest archaeological full city that has been excavated. So that was pretty cool. We will admit two things about this. We did not have a good tour guide.
Wah, wah, wah.
He kept trying to crack jokes. And when you're in a historical biblical city,
they weren't good jokes.
Not the right environment for jokes.
He just was terrible. In all aspects of the words, he was just terrible.
He was worse than Israel.
I hope he's watching this because you gotta do better, dude. That was not good. Sorry.
And we were filming and he goes, where are you filming from? I'm like, this is for YouTube. He goes, oh, I'm gonna get fired.
We were like, good. I mean, he was talking about, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
He's just a terrible tour guide.
Yeah.
He talked about his personal stuff, cracked jokes, made some music references a lot. And it just didn't fit the environment, didn't fit the mood. It just didn't work. You know what I mean? Some things work, some things don't. That did not.
Yeah. Well, we talked to another group that was with us that we just kind of got split up, and they had a fantastic tour guide. So
it can make or break you, really.
Yeah.
You know. But at that time, we were getting a little bit tired. We'd seen a lot of rock and marble, old world structures and ruins, and they start to bleed together after a while for me. You know, just being honest. But I still appreciated it.
My one suggestion is, if you do this cruise, when you go to Ephesus, you have the option of upgrading your tour to include the terrace houses, and it includes lunch. We should have done that.
We were told we missed out there. So
they are the ones that had the great tour guide and the great experience.
So do that. I would say do that next time. If we could have done it all over again, we would have done that.
Yep.
But, you know, we didn't know at the time. So, but now we do.
Yep. So afterwards, we got back on the ship. We had our last night on the ship. We got off back in Athens, and because of the flight times, we spent another day in Athens.
Yeah.
And It was great, you know, because a lot of times you get off a cruise, you're like, okay, I'm ready to go home, it's over. Well, we couldn't do that. We had to wait until the next morning to fly out. So we made the best of it, and man, did we have a great experience.
Had a great time. We kind of had our bearings of where to go because we were there the night before that we left to go on the cruise. So we knew where to go. We knew where the Acropolis was in the old town. So we went there with no problems, kind of knew where we were going, and had just the best time. Ate some more great food and closed the night out with some shopping and some dinner with some friends that also had to stay there for the night because their flights weren't till the next day. And we had the best, one of the second best meal that we had, also family style. We tried the whole entire menu, and I think there was probably 15, 20 of us. And we tried the whole menu, and we just split the cost, and we had the whole works. Everything that they had, we got to sample it. And let me tell you what, that might, between Cyprus and that last night in Greece, probably a good tie.
Oh, I know.
What?
I think the place was called Stamatopoulos.
Yeah.
I think that's right. It's one of the oldest restaurants in Plaka. Everything about it was fantastic.
Greek music, live Greek music.
Yeah, and we had Maria with us. Hi, Maria.
Hey, Maria.
And Maria works for Celestyal, and she knew the owners of Stamatopoulos, and she's the one that organized the family style, because we could have gone in there and each ordered, and we're like, no, we want to try everything. Yeah. And we ended up paying, I think, 70 euros a person. It included the tips for our servers and a tip for the musicians. So it was a pricey meal, but worth every penny.
Oh man, it was priceless.
Yes, it was. It really, really was.
Yeah, but highly recommend doing that if you can. But all in all, it was a trip of a lifetime. Have no regrets. We would do it all over again. May do some things different in Egypt, I don't know. Totally recommend it. Would do it all over again.
Absolutely.
Probably will do it again. Celestyal Cruise Line is it's a smaller ship. It's an older ship, but it was super clean. They know what they're doing, and they were great. I mean, I really can't complain about it at all.
No, the staff was very friendly. They were very informative. They took great care of us. Overall, I mean, just a fantastic cruise experience, plus the ports and everything.
But again, different strokes for different folks. Just because we like something doesn't mean you're gonna like it. You're gonna have different likes than we are, but based on our experience and our recommendations, we loved it. But to each their own, you know, so know that going into it. Wonderful experience, so glad we did it.
Yeah, so it's a great way to see a lot of different parts of the world in one condensed amount of time.
For a pretty good price.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about price. A lot of people have asked me the cost of this, and I said I would cover it in this video. Okay, to stay in the cabin we stayed in, which was a large ocean view, is gonna run about $3,800 for the 7-day cruise for 2 people. So what I did is I was able to package our international flights with 3 nights in a 4-star hotel in Athens City Center, plus airport transfers round trip. That was $1,750 flying out of Houston. So that gives you an idea of what the cost is. For the excursions, Egypt is included, Kusadasi is included, and Rhodes is included. We paid extra to do the Israel tour, and we paid extra for Cyprus. You don't have to do these things. You can explore on your own if you want. Cyprus is a place you could explore on your own. Israel, I'd say pick one of the tours. They're very good tours. They do last all day. They do include lunch, so it's worth the money.
Yeah, the lunches that are included are plentiful. They're like buffet style. You can get as much as you want. There's plenty. And I mean, what better way to experience the culture than through the food?
Absolutely. And those tours run about $100 to $120 a person, which is about equivalent to what you're going to pay in the Caribbean for an excursion that includes lunch as well.
I was blown away with how affordable it actually was. Guys, the thing is a lot of people think there's no way we'll ever be able to take a trip like that. I mean, we're talking 3 continents, you know, there's no way that we could obtain that. That you could never be more wrong.
Yep.
It absolutely is doable, and you can make it happen for a pretty good price. It's a lot more affordable than you think.
I'll be very honest with you, we spent more to go to Alaska than we did for 10 days in Europe. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating here. We spent more in Alaska. Okay, so overall, that was our experience on this Celestial cruise. We definitely do recommend it. In case you don't know, I am a travel agent, so if you are interested in this type of cruise, get in touch with me. Celestial also has some great other itineraries. They do the Adriatic, they do all of the Greek Isles, they do from Venice down to Athens. They've got some pretty awesome itineraries out there in addition to the 3-continent cruise.
Yeah, and you know, since we put out the video, Elisa has actually booked a few cruises, Celestial cruises on that 3-continent that we just got off of.
Yep.
So we got some experience there. Give her a shout if you're interested.
Yep. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Either ask the questions down in the comments or send me an email. My email's down in the comments.
And remember, it doesn't cost anything extra to have a travel agent do all the hard work for you. So just FYI, guys. Anyway, hope this helps. We appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like. Hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.